Yo, what's going on everybody? It is your boy Potential Unleashed. I am back with another One Piece chapter review. This is One Piece chapter 1093. It is titled Luffy vs. Kizaru. I'm kind of concerned a little bit, not like with anything in regards to how the chapter was adapted, but typically whenever something is titled like this, that means it's close or dang near the climax and the conclusion of a fight. We saw with Sanji versus Queen, Zoro versus King, Kid and Law versus Big Mom, and a lot of other fights, not just in Wano, but all throughout the series. So I don't know if this is going to be the conclusion. I really hope not, but at the same time, I understand why it would be, because I never expected it to be a full-fledged fight. But if you guys enjoy regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a new video. With that, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's get into the review. We pick up where he left off from the last chapter. Luffy and Kizaru, they ended up fighting, and now Luffy is in gear 5th and he is challenging Kizaru. I love Kizaru because it's hard to kind of take him seriously at times in what he says, because he says it so slow at the same time. So Luffy's grabbing him and he's like, hey, be gentle, and then he ends up getting like tossed around, and like, I don't know why I'm pumping my fist like that, but he ends up getting like spun around and Luffy's just toying with him. I love Gear 5th so much. After Luffy finishes spinning around, he ends up tossing him out of Egghead Island, and then we cut to Atlas and their goal. They are trying to reclaim the pacifistas, because we know how they go in terms of chain of command, which a little bit later in the chapter I'll talk about it. Whenever Saint Garcia Saturn makes his move, it's going to be really interesting how he'll reclaim, or when he comes and he reclaims these pacifistas, how everybody is going to react. But the reason why they're trying to reclaim them is because they will stand in the way whenever they try to escape, and that's true. We get a little update with the other Straw Hats and with Jewelry Boney. Apparently she is alive and well. Well, she's not really well, but she is alive. We kind of figured that was going to happen. She wasn't just going to be defeated just like that. We know that Kizaru kicked her and she went into the barrier, which comprises of different lasers, and so obviously she took some damage. I find it funny how Vegapunk was like, yo, you're a big adult, how did you let Boney get attacked like that? And Frankie apologized, but that's motherfucking Kizaru. There's not a lot of people that can fend off Kizaru, let alone Frankie. The only people here that can probably even stand a chance, and I'm saying a chance, not defeat them, is probably the members of the Monster Trio, maybe Jinbei, and then maybe I know he's on his side, but probably Lucci. So the fact that Vegapunk said that, I'd be pretty pissed. We also see Sanji, he's going to go with Vegapunk in order to rescue Jewelry Boney. We cut to Boney and we see a little bit of a flashback. Well, she did turn some of the Marines that are in Egghead right now. She turned some old, some into babies. In the flashback, she was falling and Sentomaru ended up catching her. Sentomaru is a real ninja. After getting defeated by Kizaru like that and all the damage that he is taking, him still being at least somewhat functional. I mean, right now he's unconscious because he saved her, but for him to be able to do that, that's really impressive. And Boney, she is trying to figure out what she's going to do and how she's going to escape. Luffy, he's up in the air, he's just laughing, doing his thing. He notices Zoro, he's like, hey, you're fighting too, and Zoro's like, well, you better focus on Kizaru, because that man is built different. As he's saying that, him and Lucci are going at it. I love it. We see that Zoro, he appears to have advanced conquerors imbued from his swords. I love that. And Lucci is also, he is awakened in his own form. And I find it interesting, the dialogue that they had. Zoro, he's like, hey, if this is the best that you have, then my captain, you shouldn't be trying to fight him. I can basically handle you. And then Lucci doubled down on that. He's like, heh, is that so? He said, then I suppose the head of an emperor's number 2 will be a decent consolation prize. I just love the ish talk going back and forth between these two. Now, I know that this is scans and that when the official comes out, the translation might be a little bit different, but I find it interesting the amount of times that Zoro has been referenced as number 2. And I believe in a recent SBS, Oda talked about Zoro not really being the first mate of the Straw Hats, and even in the live action he was mentioned to being the first mate a couple of times. It's just really interesting, and I don't really know why Oda does not make it to where Zoro is officially a vice captain and officially the first mate. Maybe he just wants them to not have titles, I'm not really sure, but at the same time it's not really that much of a big deal. Kizaru, y'all thought he was done. It's Admiral season, we ain't playing no more. He's about to fall into the water and he's like, all right, enough of this. And he ends up using an attack that allows him to create, well, send a light upward, and then based off of the light that he sent, it allowed him to create multiple clones of himself. And Luffy's freaking out. He's like, what the fluff? And then he's sitting here trying to attack them, and he can't. Well, he can, but they're different holograms, or, well, not holograms, but they're similar to holograms. And he's like, well, where the heck is the real Kizaru? Because we know his objective is to kill Vegapunk. So he's just doing this, not necessarily to buy time, but it's to keep Luffy at bay so he can go and complete his task and kill Vegapunk. The real Kizaru, he used his light sword and he ended up cutting Luffy. Luffy even said ouch, and we saw blood spew from him. We know that Kaido said that even in this awakened form that Luffy is still susceptible to slash attacks. So I love the fact that, hey, Gear 5th is pretty broken, but they still have its limitations and it still can be defeated. Now that Luffy is Joy Boy, the warrior of liberation, his attacks, and granted they could, like I mentioned earlier, be changed because of the scans and the officials, but when he attacked Kizaru after he lined up the different clones that he had an attack that was the booming dawn stomp. I find that really interesting, how he's supposed to bring the dawn to the world and he's Joy Boy. So I love the fact that if this is the real name of the attack, that he is using it. I'm not really sure if this is a bad look on Kizaru or on Luffy, or both, or neither, because during these attacks, while he was trying to keep Luffy busy, Kizaru slipped away and now he has Usopp by the throat and he is looking for Vegapunk. We know that Kizaru, he's really the type of person gets down to business and is trying to do the least amount of work as possible. So if he can kill Vegapunk and get out of there, he probably would do that. So the fact that he was able to slip past Luffy in this instance, I don't know if that's a bad look on Luffy or if that's just good on Kizaru, but we know that he is down to business as Vegapunk is in. It kind of reminds me of one of those, the balls from Fortnite. He is trying to escape, trying to go to Julie Boney. We see Frankie, we see Sanji, they are holding on to the outside of the ball. And as Kizaru goes and tries to attack him, Luffy steps in the way and intercepts the attack and is getting hit by a beam of light or a laser. It almost looks like Luffy's a human light bulb. I find it interesting that typically when it comes to the admirals or the marines, for the most part, I know that there are some exceptions, but typically the marines are always fighting a defensive battle, and this time Luffy, he's the one that is fighting not only to try and protect Vegapunk, but he's also trying to protect the other Straw Hats and fighting to try and defeat Kizaru. So he has to sometimes, like this, take attacks that he probably wouldn't necessarily need to if he was fighting him one-on-one without any outside influence. At last, she finally says and gives the order to the pacifista to attack the different marines that are there, and we get an image of Saint Garcia Saturn. Like I mentioned earlier, the order, I believe it is the Gorosei or the 5 elders, then it is Vegapunk plus the Stellas, and then Cinnamaro, and then whoever has the chip. I find this interesting because Saint Garcia Saturn, he's the type of person who said earlier that he does not want people to know that his presence and know that he is there. But now that the pacifistas are back on the side of Vegapunk and the Straw Hats, how long is he gonna sit idly and wait for different things to turn and the morale to go towards these Straw Hats and they have the momentum? When will he finally make his move? I'm not gonna lie, I thought that we were supposed to get one more chapter and then a break. I'm not really sure why we're getting a break next week. I'll probably find out after I've edited this video, but nevertheless, we have a break next week. It sucks, but hey, it is what it is. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.